welcome to Thursday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic. Now, ironically, we missed World Sudoku Day yesterday, 9th of September. Presumably that's because it's 9th of the 9th, or 9 by 9. These are the mysteries we debunk on Cracking the Cryptic. So I'm sorry about that. It seems a little bit ironic. But we're going to try and make up for it today. We've got a super looking puzzle for you by Willy Wonka. And this is meant to be brilliant. And it's sort of a hybrid of two very, very popular types of Sudoku. It's a mixture of killer Sudoku and crop key Sudoku. And yeah, I think we should just get cracking with it. Let me read you the rules. What we've got is normal Sudoku rules apply. We've got some cages in the grid. You can see those. Digits cannot repeat within a cage as usual. And normally in a killer Sudoku, obviously we'd have, you know, a little cage total to work with. Here there is no such luxury. What we've got is a white dot exists between all cages where the cage totals have a difference of 1. A black dot exists between all cages where the cage totals have a ratio of 2. Negative constraints do apply, i.e. all of the possible dots have been given. So that presumably explains why some of these cages have been included without any dots at all. We must have to use those to disambiguate things at some point during the solve. Now this should be brilliant. As I say, do have a go at it. The way to play as usual on Cracking the Cryptic is to click the link under the video, and with that, let's get cracking. And I have not got a Scooby-Doo how to start this one. Well, yeah, you see, normally with crop key Sudoku, if you have a cell linked to another cell by a black dot, which is linked to another cell by another black dot, then you can write 2, 4 in the middle of that as an option, because you know it's either 1, 2, 4 or 2, 4, 8. But here, this is not. You don't even know that these go in one direction. You know, if they add up to, I don't know, if that adds up to 6, that could add up to 12, and then that could add up to 6 again. Oh, good grief. That is a bit concerning, because that means that there's a lot of possibilities in this puzzle. In fact, where on earth do you start this puzzle, given that even an arrangement as supposedly forcing as this doesn't look like it's much help. I don't think we're going to get much help from there. We've got sort of an infestation of black and white dots down here. Again, we've got 3 cages linked by black dots here, poking out into a white dot cage. Maybe this cage down here. That does look. Actually, my eyes are drawn to this cage. This is the biggest cage in the puzzle, I think. And it's 6 cells large. So we do know that this cage has to add up to at least 21, because if we put the smallest digits we can into this cage, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, that's what you get. And the white dot means that this cage must be, well, a minimum of 20. And then it. 20. Okay. Alright, well, I've spotted one small thing, which is because this is a relatively large number, this black dot here connecting it to this 4-cell region must be a halving relationship rather than a doubling relationship. So whatever we put in here, because it has to be at least 20, there's no way we can make that 40, because we know the total for the whole box will only be 45. That's what we get if we add the numbers 1 to 9. So whatever I put in here, half of it must appear in there. So if this was 20, this would be 10, and then that would have to be 15, and that's impossible. You can't put 15 in one cell of a Sudoku, so this is greater than 20. 22, 11 doesn't work. 24, 12 would work. If this was 24 and this was 12, that square would be a 9. 26, 13, 6, 28, 14, 3. Okay, and anything greater than that, and we're going to have to put 0 in there. You can see I'm on the new software today, so I can enter 0, but I don't want to, so that's not 0. So this is a 3, 6, or 9. This adds up to 12, 13, or 14. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It adds up to double 12. It adds up to 24, 26, or 28. This adds up to 12, 13, or 14. This, well, this can't, yeah, whatever this is, this has to be half it, because it's only a 2-cell region. It can't be double it, obviously. So this adds up to 12, 13, or 14. Okay, so can we tell which of those is correct? Boom! Yes, I can. I can tell. This, yeah. Look, this domino is sitting as the middle domino, or as the middle sort of cage between two black-celled joins. So how can this be an odd digit? It can't be an odd digit because it's got to be reasonably high because of the white dot here. So if this is 12, the minimum I could make this domino is 11, which means that this is perfect because once this is 11, this domino either has to be half 11, which is 5.5, anything with a half in it we can disregard as impossible, or double it. Now you can't put 22 into a domino. So we actually know that this domino specifically must be even in order to give ourselves an option to fill this cage. And presumably this cage is always going to be half of whatever I put in here. But why does all this matter? Well, if this has got to be even, this, because it's one different, has to be odd. That is beautiful. And there's only one odd version. And that's when this added up to 39. So we get 26, 13, and 6. And so this must add up to 13 as well. So that's a 7. This... Okay, so this now adds up to 12 or 14, and this therefore can't add up to 24 or 28. So this adds up to 6 or 7, I think. 6 or 7. So this has to be one different from this cage. So this has to add up. If this is 6 or 7, this has to be 5, 6, 7, or 8. It can't be 7, so that's 5, 6, or 8. Good grief, what a start. At least I've got some digits. Now this adds up to 12 or 14. So 12, there's two options. It could be 3, 9, or 4, 8. And if it's 12, this would be 6. This one has also got to be reasonably large, look, because that is linked to this one, which is, I think this one was 13. So this domino is 12 or 14 as well. Ah, okay. Ah, we might have something here. So... because if this is 14, that's got to be 21. This domino, the minimum I could make it would be 12. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I'm getting my maths right here. I think that's right, because this is 13. So this one is 12. If this is 14, this minimum's 12. So that's 21, 33. And that means these four squares have to add up to a maximum of 12 as well, so I don't breach the 45 limit. Now, if this is 14, this is adding up to 7. Oh, this is quite interesting actually. I'm just going to put in the options here because I've noticed I can't put 5 in there. If this is 14, it has to be 5, 9 because it can't be 6, 8. So this is adding up to 7 now. This can't be 5, so the best I can do in here is 6. So that's 13, 34, 46 before I even get to that cell. That does not work. This does not work. That's great because that, well, it's quite great. Modestly great. In fact, maybe not great at all, but at least it overrules. It does mean this adds up to 12, which means it's either 3, 9 or 4, 8. I realise that's not an enormous improvement on where we were, but if this is 12 though, if this is 12, whoops, if this is 12, this adds up to 6. So this is 2, 4 or 1, 5. Oh, no, this one suddenly become restricted. Good grief. Yeah, if this is 12, oh, my phone's going nuts. This has to be 6. And if this is 6, because this can't be 7, it must be 5. And because this must be 5 and this adds up to 6, this must be 2, 4, which means that's not 4, 8, and it's 3, 9. Oh, but now this can't be 12. Oh, but it can be 14. Good grief. So, yeah, that's okay. So this is 13, so this can be 14. And indeed it must be 14 because we have no option left for this domino to make 12. 4, 8, 3, 9 and 5, 7 are not available. So that's 6, 8. That must be 1 to complete the box. Willy Wonka is one of the new generation of setters. I think he's only been publishing puzzles for a very short period of time, and they're just awesome. Now, so this is 12. So this one, oh, good grief. This is an interesting cage. This is either an absolute minimum, because it would be half of 12, which would be 6 in 3 cells, so it would have to be 1, 2 and 3. In fact, if it was 1, 2 and 3, that would have to be a 2. Okay, let's check the other way. Or it's got to be double 12, which would be 24, and it would have to be 7, 8 and 9. And that does look possible. That would put a 9 down there. So this is either 7, 8 and 9, or it's 1, 2 and 3. Okay. Stop it, Mike. What's going on with my phone? Maybe I should look down here. This one. This is 26 now. We have established that. And it's 26 without a 6. So I now know it's got a 9 in it. That's nice. So there's a 9 in one of those two squares. How do I know it's got a 9 in it? Well, through doing countless thousands of killer Sudokus, I have learned over the years that 8, 7, 6 and 5 add up to 26. So if I can't use the 6, I know I must need a 9. So it's got a 9 in it. Has it got an 8 in it? That would be a sensible question. If it's not got an 8 in it, it would have 9 and 7 is 16. I'd need another 10, which I can't do without having an 8, because obviously 9, 7 and 6 would have already been appearing in the box, so I'd have to use 2, 8 for the other way of getting to 10. That's not available. So there is also an 8 in here, and the 8 doesn't go there. So that's a little bonus. So there is 17 in 2 cells. The other 2 cells have got to add up to 9. So they're either going to be 2, 7 or 4, 5 then. If it was 7, 2, 4, 5. No, I don't think I know. So I know this cage has a 1. I know this cage has a 1 in it, look. This is the 13 cage, and I could have got this earlier if I'd thought about it. A 13 cage must contain a 1 because 2, 3, 4 and 5 add up to 14. So if there's a 1 in this cage, the 1 must be here. That means there's a 1 up there. And I don't even know this quite. I know this is 26, so this is either 27 or 25. So these 3 squares are either 20 or 18, because I know the box adds to 45. 20 or 18 here. No, this is no good. This is no good. Right. Well, I think we're going to have to try and do something in this box, because I can't do anything in any other boxes. So let's think about this box. What do we know about this box? We know that now we actually do know some things about this box, because look, Willy Wonka has put this sort of pair of spectacles here. And these are single cell cages, both of which attach to this cage, which is a 6 cage. Yeah, this is lovely. This is a lovely idea, because that means you can't put a 5, 6 or a 7 in these cells. Because if you do, if that's a 5, there should be a white dot connecting to the 6 cage. If it's a 7, there should be a white dot connecting to the 6 cage. And if it's a 6, this square here, good grief, I'm going to throw this phone away, go away. If it's a 6, this square has to be obviously then consecutive with 6, so that would be a 5 and a 7, and that would mean there should be a white dot in this one. And the logic works identically, obviously, for this square. So there is no 5, 6 or 7 in those squares. Yeah, this is suspicious. This is suspicious. So the 6 and the 7, therefore, have to appear up there by Sudoku. And these cages are 1 apart. Three and 9 as well, look. Ah, this is interesting. Look, 3 and 9 also have to appear in these 6 cells. Oh, good grief. So, well, one thing I can note immediately is the 3 and 9 don't go in those cells. Things you learn on cracking the cryptic. Number 2 is that 3 and 9 are not 1 digit apart. In fact, it's quite interesting to think that if 3, 9 was up here, 3 and 9 add up to 12, and 6 and 7 add up to 13, so that looks quite plausible. Now, plausibility isn't enough on this channel to go with an option, but that is interesting. So no, this is incredibly clever again. Okay, let's look at the option here. Is it possible that 3, 9 live with the 6 and the 7 up here? Let's look at that and think about it. And the issue is not in these cells. These cells are totally fine now, but these 2 cells are troubled, because I have to put consecutive digits into these cells, and the 1 lives over on this side, so I can't put a 2 in here, and we know I can't put a 5, 6, 7 in here, so I can't put a 4 in here either, because obviously 3 is not available, so I'd have to put a 5 in. So 6, 7 are ruled out. The only digit that's consecutive with, well, if I have to put 8 in there, I need a 7 or a 9, which are not available. Ooh, this is huge. So there is not... So not only is it true to say that 3, 9 are not in those two squares, they are also not both in those two squares. That means one of them is up here, one of them is down here. Now, which way round is it? Is there an easy way to tell this? Oh, it's not. I think it's not too bad. Let's try and put 9 up here without 3. Okay, that's not going to work. Phew. Okay, let's look at this. So what are we going to pair the 9 with? Well, if we pair it with the 7, that's 16 in one of these dominoes. So the other domino would have to, it definitely has a 6 in it, and therefore the highest it can get to is 15. But to do that, it would need a second 9. So 9 is not pairing with 7. Is 9 pairing with 6? Well, 9 and 6 is 15. Now we need the other domino to contain a 7, and it's either got to get to 14, which would require another 7, or 16, which would require, you've guessed it, another 9. So I don't think there is a 9 in there. I think the 9 is here, and if the 9 is here, the only thing that is consecutive with 9 is 8. There's an 8 in there, so this goes 8, 9. That's not 8 anymore. There's no... Oh, 9 is placed now, because you can't put... We know that 9's in this square by Sudoku. Well, a little bit of killer Sudoku as well. We know it can't go in the 13 cage. Now, let's think about this now. So we know there's 6 and 7 up here, and we know there's now 3 up here. So okay, let's go again. So we've got... So we can't put the 6 and 7 together, because 3 and 9 is not possible. The 9's here. So the 3 is joining either the 7 or the 6. If the 3 joins the 6, that adds up to 9. That means the 7 has to either be joined with a 1 to make 8, which is impossible, or a 3 to make 10, which has been used already. So that doesn't work. So let's try again. 3 and 7. I'm hoping this works, or I've made a boo-boo. So 3 and 7 is 10. That means I need the 6 to add up to either 9 or 11. So the 6 needs a 5 or a 3, and it can't have a 3. So 6 and 5. That does work. So that is the only thing that works. We've got to put a 5 in here. It's got to live over there because of the 5 there. So these squares, I think, have got to be 1, 2, and 4. Get rid of the 1s in the corner. These squares at the bottom are 5 and 8. Now that should be helpful, because that means if I know those are 5 and 8, those 3 squares add to 22. I needed 26 for the box, so that's a 4, I think. That 4 and 2 get resolved. 2 must live in the 13 cage, along with a 3 and a 7, which I know nothing about. Oh well, never mind. That's fine. 1, 2, 3, 7. 2 doesn't live here, 1 doesn't live here. So we've done an awful lot of work on the left-hand side of the grid. Absolutely 0 on anything that's in that line or to the right of it. But, in fact, that is a bit of a worry. That is a bit of a worry. How on earth do you... That is a bit of a worry. That makes me think that I must be able to do more on this side, because otherwise I'm not sure. Well, I know there's an 8 and a 9 in those cells, I suppose. Is that enough? Well, there's something going on there. There's something going on there, because the 8 and the 9 can't appear. If I put... They can't appear in in connected cages. Because if let's just try this. I don't think it works. If I put 8, let's say I put an 8 in this one. Is it now possible that the 9 lives in this one? Let's just ignore Sudoku for a moment and just think about mathematics. So what we'd be saying is that this domino and this domino are in a ratio of 1 to 2 with each other. Well, what's the lowest digit? Well, it doesn't really matter. If I put the 1 in there, you now see this one would have to add up to 18, which would require a second 9. And obviously the other way round is just never going to work. If I try and, this would have to be even. It can't be an 8. So the best we can do here is 6. So so this either has to add up to 7 or a lot. And a lot is not possible. Right, so all of that means that 8 and 9 are not consecutive. So this is impossible to notate, but it means that, I suppose it means there's no 8 and 9 in those ones. So the 8s and 9s I've now managed to get into these ones. But I don't know which way round they go. Is it possible to do more over this side? It is possible. Good grief. This puzzle has been put together with a sort of surgeon's precision. This 9 is connected. Well, it shares a boundary with this cage. So this cage here cannot add up to 10, because if it did, there would be a white circle. Now we know that the two options for these cages are 3, 7 and 5, 6. So this one cannot be 3, 7. This one is 5, 6. And we know the order because there's a 5 there. 5, 6. So this one is 3, 7. Oops. 3, 7. And that, I don't know, maybe, is this 5, 6 meant to help us? So now, well, now we know this domino here is half whatever we put in these two dominoes. So we know the relationship here is 2x, x, 2x, because it can't be x, 2x, x, because we can't make this big enough. Even if I put the two biggest digits remaining, 6 and 7, in here, obviously it's not possible for this to be half that value. So this domino and this domino are double this value, which means that this is a multiple of 5. These 6 cells are a multiple of 5, because obviously arithmetically what you've got here is 2x plus 2x plus x, that's 5x. Now that means that the total here must be divisible by 5. Now if that's divisible by 5 and the box is divisible by 5, I know those 3 squares are also divisible by 5. Now that is absolutely useless. I think it's useless. So, but, right, okay, let's do this a bit more methodically. If I know this domino and this domino add to the same number, which I now do, and I know one of them has a 9 and one of them has an 8, then we know that the 9 must have another odd digit with it, and that, because I know that this is this has to be half of whatever I put in these digits. So I know the combination of these two digits here is an even number. The combination here is an even number. So 9, wherever it lives, has to go with either 1, 3, 5 or 7. And 7 is impossible, because then the 8 would have to repeat with another 8. So the options here, the 9 has to go with 1, 3 or 5. Is this why this is here? It is. Because if the 9... Oh, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. if the 9 goes with a 5, the 8 has to go with a 6. And that means that one of these dominoes, this domino here would have to contain either a 5 or a 6, depending on whether there was an 8 or a 9 in the domino. And that is impossible. That is beautiful. Goodness me, isn't that beautiful? This is going to, I've just seen the time, 30 minutes. This is going to be a long video. But that was beautiful. So 9 is not going with 5. It's not going with 7. So 9 is either going with 1 or with 3. Now, is it possible to work out which of those is correct? It is possible. It is possible. Because if 9 goes with 1, I can show you this. If 9 goes with 1, 8 will go with 2. I don't know if this is the order, but this is the composition of this 2 by 2. It would have to contain the digits 1, 2, 8 and 9. But this adds up to 10. This adds up to 10. This has to add up to 5. There's no way of making 5 now. The 1 and the 2 are not available. So this is wrong. This is wrong. 9 is going with 3 and 8 is going with 4. And that is absolutely gorgeous. And there's a 3 here. So this is 3, 9. This is forced. What a puzzle we are doing today. This is absolutely superb. So this is 4, 8. This is 12 now. So this has to be 1, 5 because we need half of 12. So this is adding up to 6. 1, 5. It must be 2. Sorry, it must be 1, 5 because 2, 4 isn't available. So this 5 is telling us there's a 5 here and a 1 here. This is not 1. This is not 4. This is 2, 6, 7 in some order. And there's this suspicious cage here, look. What is that doing? Yeah, this is it's just so clever again. This domino adds to 12. So if this was a 6, 7 pair, it would add to 13, and there should be a little white dot there that does not exist. So this is not a 6, 7 pair, which means there must be exactly a 6 or a 7 in here, and there is definitely a 2 in this cage here. That can't be a 2 by Sudoku. And it's very interesting, this, isn't it? We've had to go on a very, very linear path. We've gone from this box to this box to this box to this box, and now I think we're going to have to go to this box. I don't think I can. Can I disambiguate this? This was either 1, 2, 3 or 7, 8, 9, but I mean, if it's 1, 2, 3, we would now know the exact order. It'd be 2, 1, 3, but that still looks possible. There's got to be a 5 down there, look, in one of those cells. Actually, I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pencil mark this box fully, because effectively, look, I've got 5 digits in the top row. So I know that these squares here have got to be made up of 1, 2, 6 and 9. These cells here have got to be made up of 2, 4, 7 and 8. And these ones here have got to be made up of 1, 4, 5, 3. Now, does that yield any secrets to us? No, I don't think it did. Well, good grief. Well, I suppose this black dot here might be important. The other thing that might be important, actually, thinking about this, is that these... Yeah, here we go. These dominoes are all linked by a white dot, so they're relatively close in value to each other. So if this is a tiny value, these two will both be relatively tiny as well. Now, therefore, if there is a 1 in this box, surely you can't make the whole box add to 45. If this is 1, 5, say, that's 6. The highest I could make this would be 7. The highest I could make that would be 8. So that would be 6 plus 7 plus 8. In fact, 7's not even possible there, but let's just 6, 7, 8 is 21, which means these would have to add to 24, which is possible in theory, but not when this can only be 1, 3, 4 or 5, because it would need to be 7, 8 or 9. So there is no 1 in here. That is nice. Now that means I don't know what it means. It might mean something. Ah, yes, it does mean something. This is gorgeous now. Okay, let's use this one again, because this is in a 1:2 ratio with this domino. So if this is 9, how do we make this work? Answer: you can't, because if that adds up to 9, this either adds up to 18, which is impossible, or it adds up to 4.5, which is impossible. So this is not adding up to 9, so there must be a 3 in here. There is no 3 here. And this either adds up to 7 or it adds up to 8. So if it adds up to 7, let's continue with this. Does that break? And if so, why? If it adds up to 7, that has to add up to 14. That looks like it might work. If this adds up to 7, this has to add up. Ah, that's interesting. If this adds up to 7, this has to add up to either 6 or 8. Now, 8 I don't think is possible from the options, so it would have to add up to 6. So it would be 7, 6, and then this would have to add up to 5 or 7, and 7 is possible. So this would add up to 7, this would add up to 6, this would add up to 7. So these 6 cells add up to 20, not enough, because 3 more cells would have to get you to 45. That means they'd have to add to 25, which is too large for 3 cells. So this, I don't think this is 7, I think this is 8. Oops, and I just deleted the wrong digit. That is 3, 5 pair. This is not 5. So if this is 8, that means this one is either adding up to 7 or 9. Well, you can actually look at that. 7 or 9. 7 is impossible, so it must add up to 9. There's only one way you can make 9. So this is 2 and 7. This one now has, there's no 2 in these. In fact, this 2, 7 resolves the left-hand side of the grid. 4, 1, 2 go in there. This 7, so this has to add up to 10 or 8. It can't add up to 8. This must be a 1, 9 pair. This is quite simply stunning, this puzzle. This 1, 9 pair means that's a 4. This one is an 8 by Sudoku. This cage adds up to 14. I was just looking at these cages to check that I wasn't breaching any rules. I don't think I am. Okay, so does that help? So this cage now, if this is 8, this either adds up to... Well, it could add up to 3, actually. It could just be 1, 3. Or it could add up to 16 and be 7, 9. So there is a huge... range in this cell. So now so just thinking about this, if I'm just going to look at 7, 9 here, because I noticed that immediately allows me to rule out 7, 8, 9 as this triple, because I can't put both 7 and 9 in this square. So if this is 7, 9, this has to be... Ah, beautiful, beautiful. If this is 7, 9, this has to be 1, 2, 3, to avoid me having to put 7 and a 9 in this square. But now, because this becomes a 3, I've got to put 2 and 3 in this square. And this square is not a Schrödinger square. It cannot be two things at the same time. So this is not 7 and 9. That is, again, another beautiful piece of logic by Willy Wonka. So this is 1, 3, which means that square is not 3. That square is 9. This is 3. Which means this cannot be 1, 2, 3 now because I couldn't put a 3 in it. So it is 7, 8, 9. Can't put a 3 in it because the 3's are here. It is 7, 8, 9. That's 9. This is a 7, 8 pair. This is 9. So this we can do Sudoku. We get a 9 and a 3 there. 9 must live in one of those two squares because of the... Oh, that's an interesting thought I've just had as well. This had to be quite a high triple, didn't it? Because if this is... Oh, I've got to go and remember the numbers. If this is 26, which it is, this is 27 or 25, which means this is 20 or 18. And it can't include a 9. Ah, there you go. There you go. So if it can't include a 9 and it adds up to at least 18, it must have an 8, because if it doesn't have an 8, it has to be 5, 6, 7, and it can't be. Because 5, 6, 7 would break that square. So there has to be an 8. Whether this is 18 or 20, it needs the 8. And if it needs the 8, that square's a 4. That 8 gives me an 8, 7. Oh, please. These two squares have got to be 5 and 6 to complete this row. Oh, good grief. Good grief. This is the key. This is the key, both to the highway and to the Sudoku, because look, if this is adding up to 20, how does it work? What is it? We know it's got an 8 in it, it's not got a 9 in it. So we know that the only way you can make 20 would be with 5, 7 and 8. Now that looks at first glance like it's possible, but it's not. Because if I eliminate 5 from this square, it becomes a 6. And if I eliminate 7 from that square, it becomes a 6. And that is not allowed. So this is not 5, 7 and 8. Therefore it's not 20, it is 18. And if it's 18, the other two cells in this triple have to add to 10 without using 1, 9, 2, 8 or 4, 6. So this is 3, 7, 8, ta-da! Which means that square is a 6, this is a 2, this is a 7, this is a 5, this is a 6, this is a 1, 2 pair, I think. Oh, there's a 1 there actually, so that's a 1. Oh, I've just seen that's been sitting there for a while. Oops. 3, 4, 6 here. That's not 3. That's not 3 either. This is a 3. 4, 6, 6, 8. 3, 7, 8 down here. So let's have a look at the options for this column. We need 2, 4, 6 and 9. So that square is a little bit restricted, look. This column we need 1, 4, 1, 4, 5 and 6. That's got to be 1, 4, 5, 1, 5, 6. And I know sorry, I'm just trying to get a handle on whether I can get anything more from this sextuplet here, and I'm not really understanding how to. So maybe I've got to carry on over this way now. Oh yeah, maybe I can use this one. That one's got to have a 2 in it, look, from those 2s. Ah, and it's got to have a 7 in it as well. So this is actually restricted. It can't contain a 6 either because there's a 6 in its box. So this is very restricted. Right, good. This is either... It's either got to have an 8 or a 4 in it, as well as the digits that I've labelled up. So 6 and 9 is 15. So it's either adding up to 19 or 23. Well, it's not adding up to 23, and I tell you why. Because it's next to a 24 cage, and it would have to have a dot, and there is no dot. So it's not adding up to 23, which means those squares have got to be 2, 4 and 7, which means this square is a 6, this square is a 4, this is a 6, and this is an 8. This is a 2 by Sudoku now. This column still needs what is it? 4 and 9 into that domino, I think. Let's put that in. 4, 9. That means that's not 4 anymore. So this has got to be 1, 5 or 6. That looks like it's still working. And those squares are 5, 8, 9. It's a stunning puzzle. 47 minutes. Oh, at least I might finish it. It looks like I'm getting somewhere near the end. So I've now got... This can't be an 8, look. So there's definitely an 8 in this little triple. And this... Okay, so now this one added up to 19, didn't it? And it's one different from this one, which has to contain an 8. So this one either adds up to 18 or 20. Right, let's go through it. So 18 or 20. So if it's 20, this could be 8, 9 and 3. Or 8, 5, and that would be a 7. Is there anything wrong with any of those options? That square can't be a 4, look. 2, yes, there is something wrong because that's a 2, 7 pair, which means that is not 7. So this, if this adds up to 20, this has to be 8, 9 in some order, and then a 3 here. Okay, but this could also add up to, what was it, 18. So if this adds up to 18, we could go 8, 9, that could be a 1, or 8, 5, and... Oh, 8, 5, 5 doesn't work. I'd have to repeat the 5. So this square is a 1 or a 3. And that is... Please. No. So this... So this is either... oh well, okay, I get that digit, don't I? Because this is always 8, 9. It's either 8, 9 and 1 to make 18, or it's 8, 9 and 3 to make 20, but it never uses the 5 in either of those options, so the 5 goes there. That does give me another digit, 5, 3, oh, 2 more digits. This square is quite restricted now, look. Just looking at the fact that in the row I've got a 9 and a 2 and a 4, none of which are appearing there. So isn't this a naked single? Isn't this a 7? Oh, Mark would be proud of me for spotting that. It is a naked single. That is the only option for this square is 7, which, oh, doesn't give me very much, but it was quite pleasing to spot it for a change. So we need 2, 4 and 9 into those squares. Not 2, 5 and 9, 2, 4 and 9. I keep thinking I'm going to find a triple or, you know, something that's going to help me to disambiguate what's going on, but I'm not seeing it. So I suppose there's got to be a 9 in one of those squares. Let's think about it that way. Yeah, that's a nice way to think about it, because can this be a 9? The answer must be no, because those two would add up to 16. Even if I make that a 1, that's 17, which means this would have to add up to at least 16, but the 9 isn't available anymore because I've just put it in there. So this is not 9. This is 9. That gives me more digits. Good. Give me digits. I want digits. Oh. No, it gave me some digits. That's all. So now, oh, I don't believe it. No, it's definitely not. So maybe this square? This square can't be 3, 4, 5 or 6 or 7 or 9. So this square can only be 1, 2 or 8. Now surely I can... 1 must be impossible. If this is a 1, that adds up to 10. That means this would have to add up to 9, impossible, or 11, also impossible, because you just can't make those two squares add up to 4, given this has to be a 2 or a 4. Good. 1 is removed. Now we still don't have what we need. Not along the column anyway, along the row. No. Okay, let's try 2. So we've got 11 now here, which means this needs to add up to 10, which it could do if that's a 1. Or it's got to add up to 12, which... that can't be a 3. So 1 would be the only option there, and it either joins with a 2 or a 4. But definitely 2 is possible. So is 8 possible? I sincerely hope not. So if this is 8, let's actually look at it. If this is 8, 17. So this has to add up to either 16 or 18. So if it's 16... No, ooh, 16 doesn't work because these two have to add up to 9. But that would mean this is a 7 or a 5. It can't be either. So 16 doesn't work. Does 18 work? Please don't work. 18 requires these to add up to 11. 4, 7 doesn't work. 2, 9 doesn't work. It's impossible. This has to be a 7 or a 9. It can be neither. So 8 is wrong. 8 is wrong. 2 is correct. That means that's a 4. This is a 1 to make this add up. Yeah, that looks right. 3 goes here. 1 fixes the 1, 9 at the top. That fixes the 9, 8 below. This can't be 2 anymore. This 2 fixes the 2 and the 7. That fixes the 4, the 2, the 7. 5, 8 at the bottom of... deadly pattern. Hopefully this box is what disambiguates it. This square here should be a 6. That's not 6. Threes and 1s must be resolved, surely. So this can't be 1. Where does 1 go in this box? It must go here. That's the only place it can go. 3 and 2 can't go here. So this is 7. This is 3. This is 2. This is 3. This is 7. That's an 8 by Sudoku, 3 by Sudoku, 7 by Sudoku. 1, 5, 6, and look, this is so cool. So let's check. What is it about this box that's going to disambiguate it? This box adds to 12. If we make this box add to 11, it would need a white dot. So it does not add to 11. It's got to be an 8. 8, 5, 5, 8. And that is as good a puzzle as you will ever see. Fantastic, Willy Wonka. Again, loved it. I got it done in under an hour, and I'm actually quite proud of that. That flew by for me. I felt like my mind was going quite quickly today. Let me know in the comments how you got on. Let me know if my performance was up to scratch, and I really hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. And we'll be back later, of course, with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.